welcome. I'm Erica Butler. I'm so happy to be here with y'all. I'm going to get into who I am and why I love what I do in a little bit. But first, we just going to make sure y'all are awake. And I'm going to put some words up on the screen one at a time. And I want you to think about how you feel when you see the word, thoughts that may come, feelings you may have. And feel free to share those with everybody, to shout them out. And then we're going to have a little bit of a conversation afterwards. Sound okay? All right. Are we ready? Okay. The first word, relationships. What comes to mind? Hard. Amen. Huh? Long? Love. There we go. Is it uncomfortable? Is that what I heard? Okay. Intimate? Interaction. Difficult? Vulnerability. Look at you jumping ahead on the slides already. I see it. Okay. Healing. Connection. Draining. Conflict. Okay. Ooh, evolving. Complex. I'm going to throw joy in there because I like that. We're going to talk about joy today. Okay, perfect. So we're going to do the next word. Pleasure. Shout them out. Self. Amen. And I'm going to do a lot of stomping. That's my thing. Anybody else? Fun. Yes. Huh? Rewarding. Yes. Uh-huh. Ooh. Woohoo. Say it louder for the people you are in the back, but say it louder for the people in the back. Okay. Guilt. Yeah, we want to talk about that too. Heavenly. Ain't it though? Good. You said what? Curiosity. Y'all are out here. Did you see the slides before? Because this is letting me know that our conversation is needed right today because these words are insane. Okay. All right. Everybody take a deep breath. Ready? Next one. Sex. Ooh. Boogity boo. Emotional. Good. I think that was a noise and I'm here for it. Partnership. Beautiful. Trust. Fun. Yes.
Also complicated.
Huh?
Complicated.
Woo. Complicated. Joy. Yes. Okay. Now, so somebody said something else? Deep. Okay. I see what you did there. That was great. Thank you for starting the morning off correct. And last but not least, orgasm. Necessary, amen. One more time. Huh? More. Prayer. Attainable. Steamy. That's actually brilliant. Anything else? Huh? Stress relieving. Ooh, ethereal. We need to talk after this, y'all. Don't leave. Y'all about to be my favorites right now. What else? Oh, call it like you see it then. Infrequent as hell. Listen, I said I keep it real, y'all. Either you like it or you don't. I'm sorry. Okay, so thank y'all for doing that with me. I want to also say, because I like facts about sex, there are 26 different types of orgasms in this world. You are welcome for new 26 things to add to your to-do list, bucket list, whatever it may be, right? And although, apples increase natural lubrication, I believe that it's an orgasm a day that keeps the doctor away. I don't need, okay, at least one, if not two, right? Okay, so we're going to get into this question of what do we lose when we don't have a connection with our sexual selves, right? And so our sexuality, our pleasure, and our joy are a part of everything in our identity and within our society, right? And so I think it's important to talk about that this part doesn't just impact our physically intimate interactions with others, right? It manifests its way into so many other it shows up in a lot of different ways, right? And we're going to talk a little bit more about that today. But as I promised, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bio real quick. Just, let you see some cute pictures. Who that is? Oh my gosh, I'm so cute. Look at that. Oh my gosh. So I am a biracial woman. I use she and her pronouns. From Pataskala. Who know about Pataskala? Hoo-dee-hoo! All right, walk-ins unite. Okay. I'm a business owner, a comprehensive sex educator, a creative. I'm a partner. Shout out to David. And because we talked about my kids, I'm a mom, and they're great. 7 and going on 35. And, I'm a daughter, a sister, a village auntie. These identities could go on, but one thing I know for sure is that being in Ohio or North Florida, Texas, whatever you want to call this right now, anything that I do as a sex educator is spicy. They don't like me here, and that's okay. I ain't going nowhere, so eventually you'll just have to deal with me, right? But I feel like the reason that these conversations are not normalized is because people are uncomfortable in a lot of different ways, right? We're gonna talk about things like curiosity, vulnerability today. And I think oftentimes these conversations should begin super, super early when it's just thinking about for yourself. So that when it does involve other people, you kind of learn how to have that conversation in a safe and healthy way, right? So when I came back from graduate school, way back when, we don't need to talk about age, I realized that Ohio doesn't have a mandate for a sex education to be medically accurate. And I was like, well, I sure as hell don't want to be a part of that system, because I don't understand. So if it's not medically accurate, what are we doing? Just spewing our own values and beliefs everywhere and calling it sex ed? Because that's not sex ed. I hate to break it to you, right? So I decided that doing sex ed my way was what my community needed. And so I started my Happy Sex Talk LLC so that I could do things the way that I wanted for the people that mean the most to me. And I began normalizing conversations about consent, healthy relationships, boundaries, intimacy, so many other topics, right? And I believe that, as I said in the bio, that sex ed is a basic human right. And it's through conversations of normalizing these things that we'll grow together as a society, will be healthier, and we'll start healing. Somebody say healing for one of these words. Say that again. There's so much healing that needs to happen, right? We have so much guilt and shame around sexuality, identity, sex in general. There's so much to unlearn. I've been in this work for 20 years. I'm still unlearning. I grew up in the same society that all of us did, and they got to me quick. I've been trying to figure out when it started. I can't. It started so early for me that I was like, oh, this is what relationships are supposed to look like. And then you never question it until finally you're like, I think there might be another option for me, right? So we're going to talk about that just a little bit today. So when we get to the question that was on the Garfield slide about what do we do when we lose, or what do we lose, when we don't have a connection with our sexual selves. So we're going to talk about 3 qualities that we don't have a relationship with if we don't open ourselves to what these qualities mean in connection to our sexuality, okay? So these are often absent in our lives, mainly due to societal norms and expectations. And we tend to overlook these qualities and their significance in relation to our sexuality. So we're gonna get into it. Hey, B, good morning, girl. Cowboy Carter and stuff. Curiosity. I like this word. Who said it this morning? Somebody said curiosity, or there it is, okay. So when we're talking about curiosity in connection to sexuality specifically, it's about trying to understand that your interests and your needs are going to change over time, and being open to that idea and maybe adjusting some things in your life to reflect those things. So allowing yourself to be curious about things like exploring your body and finding out what parts of your body you like being touched, what pressure points, how that works. I mean, maybe you find out that your left kneecap ain't the spot. You got to make sure that people know that, because if they touch your left kneecap, it could ruin the whole move, you know? So it's about being open to different experiences and even different relationships. So we know monogamy, we have polyamory, ethical non-monogamy. You could have multiple people in one sexual experience, BDSM, the list is endless, right? But even if you think about all of these options, just to eliminate it for yourself, because you know that that's not something you're into, you still engaged with your own sexual curiosity in that space. And so it's something that I feel like people don't think about often, is questioning like, oh, okay, have I kind of been doing the same thing for the last 15 years? Maybe I should look at that a little bit harder, right? So, and especially most importantly, you're doing it without shame and guilt. We don't talk about the importance of this quality in a way that encourages people to have their sexual curiosity arise naturally. So it usually results in people either exploring things kind of behind the scenes, usually still feeling that shame and guilt about doing it behind the scenes, or we all just kind of stay oblivious to the fact that it's even an option to consider other things for ourselves, right? And so I encourage you all to ask yourselves, have you spent time engaging with curiosity in connection to your sexuality, let alone even engaged in that conversation with other people, especially those that you're intimate with, right? So just kind of take that and think about that. And when we put curiosity in connection to life in general, it's important to know what's out there and to not be afraid to try new things. And if, think about if you are currently in a career, are you happy there? Is there something else that you're interested in? Is there another thing that you may want to do? Are your relationships working for you? Do you feel fulfilled? And what makes you happy? And do you do enough of that in your life? And what are your interests outside of your careers or the daily roles that you play? So it's essential that you're not only open to asking yourself these questions, but that you're open to exploring the answers that you find when you ask them. Because sometimes the answers be scaring the shit out of us. And then we're like, okay, well, we're going to stop right here. I'm not going any deeper. I don't want to know. Put it away. We'll come back at another time. And then oftentimes we don't return to that, right? So the alternative to never exploring your curiosity is that you could potentially never truly fulfill the wants or needs that you have in your life, right? And so you just kind of going through the motions, you're missing out on fun things. So make sure to stay curious. I think the next word that we're going to get to is vulnerability. And don't nobody want to be vulnerable. It's scary. The word is scary. The feeling is scary. But one thing that we know is that feeling safer to be vulnerable in certain spaces and situations actually aids in healthy relationship building. So that doesn't mean that I'm encouraging you to start sharing all of your personal details with strangers at the grocery store, right? Like within context, within the type of relationship that we're talking about, if it's a friend, if it's your family, if it's a loved one, if it's somebody that you're having sex with, whatever the case may be, right? I know that I'm a Pisces, so all my stuff is right here on my sleeve. My heart, my emotions, everything is here. I'm usually very vulnerable. I have learned in this work over the last 20 years that very beautiful things come into my life, both personally and professionally, when I know how to gauge that level of vulnerability within my relationships. And so I know it's scary. It's very scary. It's still scary for me. And I do it naturally most days, right? But it's something that I really want you all to think about in all aspects of your relationship, but especially when we're talking about sex. Because today's theme is what? Okay, I'm gonna do that a couple times. So I wanna say that curiosity is the seed that kind of fosters the exploration of vulnerability, and in one of the safest ways, which is within yourself, right? So if you stay curious for yourself, then you're automatically vulnerable because you're asking yourself questions or engaging in things that you may have never done before. And so we all have to work through whatever walls we've built up from society telling us how we should act or who we should be in private versus who we should be in public. But I actually think that because of its ability to challenge how we should show up in our space, vulnerability is actually a form of resistance, right? And so what I'm trying to encourage you all to do is normalize that vulnerability that will help all parts of you exist in spaces no matter where you go in your authentic self, right? And so you can see how it benefits your life as a whole when we do these things. And then, oh wait, hold on. There we go. And that leads me to wholeness, the last quality. So experiences with curiosity lead to learning, which leads to vulnerability, which then leads to self-awareness. And which means ultimately we become a more holistic version of ourselves because we've done the work to learn who we are now and or who we may want to be in the future. And we can start thinking about what steps we need to make ourselves a little more curious, to put ourselves out there a little bit more, to try something new and see how it feels. And so even if this self-awareness results in you confirming that who you are right now in this moment in every element of your life is exactly who you want to be, then hot damn, ain't that great? Right? But the point of this is keep asking those questions because your interests, your needs, whether sexually or otherwise, are always going to change. It's ever evolving, right? And so you have to understand that this is a long-term process of growth. And I want you to kind of think about, and I often make connections with kids because I have some. My kids are fearless. They're curious as hell. They ask all the questions every 2 minutes. They want to know everything. And they are not scared to ask questions. I'm literally envious of them being so fearless to ask anything at any given moment. My 7-year-old is probably one of the most prolific people I have ever met. He asks so like out of this world questions, usually before bedtime. That's when he gets really reflective. But I'm just, I encourage us all to kind of tap into that inner child of, at some point in our lives, being curious, being vulnerable. It didn't scare us. It was actually just kind of how we operated. That was the norm, right? But society tells us as we become adults, we got to get serious, we got to get jobs, pay bills and shit and all these things. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, all this time has passed and I've never thought, am I actually happy in my sex life, in my relationships, in my job, in my whatever, right? And so I just keep talking to that inner child as often as you can. Figure out what they want to learn and kind of let them lead and see how that process goes. Find out what makes you happy, what makes your life more enjoyable, creates a life where you feel free and safe to be authentically you in every aspect of your life. But again, especially in sexuality, because today's theme is what? Woo, y'all is hitting it. So, the summary of all of this is stay curious, be vulnerable, and embody wholeness, whatever that means to you, right? And also give yourself grace, because I'm gonna say it again, we're unlearning multiple decades of shit that were never our messaging to pick up in the first place. Those messages are stemmed from other people's traumas that they then had marketing behind. And now all of a sudden they just live in our head and we don't know how they got there. I mean, I know how they got there, Disney princess movies. It's like, damn, I gotta lose my voice to get somebody to wanna talk to me? I feel like that's trash. Neither here nor there. We have a new one, amen. We have a new mermaid. I mean, the storyline is still the same, but we don't need to get sidetracked on that. What I'm saying is, these messages are coming from people that do not know us, but make money off of us regularly, right? So just make sure that you're thinking about the source of these ideas and maybe try to start unlearning some of that behavior by turning that negative self-talk around or the negative thoughts that come in about sexuality or the scariness that exists around curiosity and sex and intimacy. Challenge yourself to just go a little further and see how that feels. Maybe it's comfortable, maybe it's not. Take a step back if you need to, right? But just stay curious. And so in conclusion, I want you to consider, oh, I love this meme, y'all. I need to find this, man. This is a great meme. So should you activate your brain? Meaning what parts of yourself have you blocked off or are you currently blocking off? What parts of yourself could you investigate more? And how could you become more curious in your sex life? I mean life, but also sex. So should you activate your body? When have you experienced this sensation of pleasure? And what pleasurable activities have you engaged in recently? Do you need more of that in your life? And what have you done that brings you joy in the last 3 months? Right? Like just anything. It can be sex. It can be going to a movie. It can be, hey, it was nice, so I sat out back and let the sun hit my face. That felt great. Right? And so in the same way that I feel like vulnerability is an act of resistance, joy is too. Because listen, 2024 is coming for everybody's neck, okay? It has no interest in anybody being happy. 2024 has been coming like a freight train. I don't know about y'all, but the hits, they just keep, and I think maybe around March, because that's my birthday month, I get real reflective then. I was like, I'll be damned. If whoever made 2024's calendar is about to mess up my joy, whoever this is, we need to have a conversation, right? And so I'm intentionally doing things, simple or otherwise, that just remind me that joy is a form of resistance. You know, there's so much anger, there's so much just kind of people just being mad about everything. Everybody want to argue, everybody want to disagree, and that's fine. But we can also love each other consensually. We can, it's very important. We can also, I don't know, go to a swingers club and see if it feels good. I mean, just a suggestion. There's some in Columbus if you're interested. You know, just think about it, right? See what your options are. Keep your options open. And lastly, should you activate your heart? So are the relationships in your life serving the needs that you have, right? For intimacy, vulnerability, communication, honesty, whatever qualities of a relationship make your relationship healthy in your mind, evaluate what you have in your life and make sure that you are not only being fulfilled for yourself, but that you are contributing like to the other person on the end of this relationship. It's not just, am I getting what I need, but do I even know what the other person needs? Have I even asked that? Have we talked about it? Maybe they don't actually like watching movies on a couch. Maybe they would rather put a screen out in the backyard with the stars and watch it that way. That sounds fun. Can we do that this weekend? Let's do that this weekend. Okay. Sorry. That's the ADD, y'all. We're going to get through it. So, you know, just kind of making sure that you're asking those questions and let that list of those important qualities of healthy relationships, just let that grow. Let it be a whole scroll that goes all the way up an aisle, because you deserve to be loved. You deserve to be uplifted. You deserve to be encouraged. And your relationship should reflect that, right? Your intimate relationships, your relationships with your family, your relationships with yourself, with your friends. It's all important, right? And you want to make sure that you have a safe space to investigate what you have an interest in. And like I said, even if you Google it and say, oh, no, that's not for me. At least you Googled it. I mean, I can't guarantee that the ads that come up after that are going to be up your alley, but you know. And if you have questions, you can always message me and say, should I Google this? Probably not, but I'm gonna say do it anyway. See what happens. Just go into a private window, you know? I don't know if that actually works. I try it. I don't know. So, yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, hopefully this is all kind of resonating. I didn't want to be out here like orgasms all day and make people mad uncomfortable. So, you know, I wanted to talk about relationships in general. But I just think, you know, curiosity is important. Keep it at the center. Stay young, stay happy, be joyful, and hit me up if you need anything. Okay? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.